We start the noon business lunch with Craig Bolanos today, the co-founder and wealth advisor at VestGen Wealth Partners. Just looking at some of the sort of real-time reporting about this IPO for SpaceX. According to the New York Times, SpaceX's early rise has made Elon Musk a trillionaire. The stock needs to stay above roughly $138 to keep his net worth at 13 figures. 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4 commas in his net worth now. 138 is the number for those of you keeping score at home, right, Craig? As long as it's above 138, thank goodness he'll be a trillionaire.
Hey, listen, I think he's got a good shot of that happening with an IPO price at 135, and obviously we're 30% above. So right now, Elon Musk's in the green. It probably invokes conversations over income inequality in America, but I think that's real. But in the same vein, we've got to celebrate innovation, and that's one thing America does and American companies do. We certainly innovate, and this is proof of just that again here with the SpaceX IPO on a Friday.
Yeah, I'm interested in income inequality. And is a trillionaire or even billionaire is a good thing, but let's not have that conversation right now. Talk to me about this IPO and this company. What is going on here?
Well, I think everybody's excited. This is the year, the return of big IPOs. SpaceX coming out, Anthropic, OpenAI, and all of this is eventually going to find its way into clients with synthetic and or direct ownership, because obviously shares of SpaceX are going to find their way into the NASDAQ 100. They're going to find their way into the Russell. All of that is going to happen, and I think SpaceX is going to be a widely held security for many. Now, there might be concerns and consternations that all things AI and all things technology are getting long in the tooth, but the reality is the future remains bright. Markets are going to work through it, and again, I think it should be celebrated today.
Do you think they should be included in those indices you just mentioned as quickly as they are? Normally, so as to sort of suss out the volatility, you have to wait months, and in this case, it's going to be a much shorter ramp.
Yeah, it's going to be a shorter ramp, but I think sometimes those shorter ramps are being driven through what I call shareholder demands, right? So ultimately, all of these index and all of these ETF providers, their end clients, it's us, John, it's you, it's me, it's the entire listening audience to this show, and people are demanding access, and that's why some of those rules get modified and changed when there's such public outcry for participation.
Yeah, well, 100%. But it's also quite possible that outcry is FOMO, and we would be better off if we kept the rules in place. I'm not arguing with you, but I'll play the devil's advocate. Those rules are in place for a reason, and it's to insulate people from rash decisions for the very thing you're talking about.
No, I agree. That's why we have strong governance, and I believe the providers and purveyors of all these products, the way they're calculated, Russell, S&P, you name it, they're going to be as thoughtful as they need to be to ensure that the markets aren't moving or creating additional asymmetrical risk. It's a blend. You got to meet the client at the same way you got to have governance, because it's the results that matter, John. No one's losing sight of that. You're right on.
SpaceX is, you think of the satellites and the rocket ships, but SpaceX is the umbrella arm, right, for Twitter and for Tesla, for his bioengineering company, for his satellite phone company. All of this is SpaceX. Am I right about that?
Yeah, and don't forget Starlink. That's probably just a tremendous story, as Starlink is going to be providing that satellite internet division all across the globe. So there's many different components underneath SpaceX as a holding company.
This from the Times. It's hard to imagine there will be another trillionaire anytime soon. The next richest persons are Larry Page and Sergey Brin, and they are only 30% of the way there. Wah, wah. And also in the early going, we are now comfortably in the realm of a respectable first-day pop. This moved just a few minutes ago on the IPO with SpaceX shares up more than 20%. Guys, what's the, Steve or Craig, do you have what They are up from the IPO, from the initial offering now?
Yeah, we're up about 30%
Wow.
after the biggest IPO in history right now. And maybe that's going to be lackluster to many, only having a 30% pop. I'm actually happy that it's measured. I was worried with the mass amount of demand and potential oversubscription that people could actually get injured or whipsawed significantly, and that hasn't occurred. So being up 26% right now, I rounded it to 30, John, it's 26. Being up 26% from the public offering price, I think that's a good spot to be coming into the noon business hour.
Oh, that's not extravagant to you? That's modest, 26% pop?
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable. I think there was a chance based on how...
Don't know where Craig's voice went, but that's okay. It's time for a pause anyway. We'll reconnect with him if it got disconnected. Maybe he'll use a Starlink satellite phone and we'll have a better connection. Craig Bolanos, co-founder and wealth advisor at VestGen Wealth Partners, is on the line. And we've asked him to, Craig's on our show all the time. You recognize his voice. I asked him to speak specifically today, though, just about this IPO for SpaceX. So when the price settles later today, later this week, the future is in front of us, right? Elon Musk's team members are wearing T-shirts that say colonize Mars, for crying out loud. So should I buy some of this stock or find a way to get in on this, Craig?
Lindholm Roofing has appointments available now to provide you a complete roofing, siding, gutter, and tuck pointing inspection. Call 773-283-7675 or lindholmroofing.com. Tell them that Lou sent you. Lindholm Roofing, their family has your family covered.
I think everybody needs to take a look underneath the hood of their portfolio and find out how much they have in technology, how much they have in communication stocks, and everyone needs to pay attention to what John said earlier in the program. This stock is going to make its way into the broad-based indices that you likely already have in your portfolio. So do you want to buy any active shares, any direct shares? Of course you may, but if you do, I encourage people to be patient and do it with wide scale, because something's going to happen. The lockup is going to expire for all of the insiders, and then you do wonder how much additional liquidity is going to come to market in the future, which could lower the price. We've seen that with a lot of IPOs in the past. We may see that here.
So waiting may be beneficial.
I think waiting might be beneficial. It's like all things. When you want to participate in something, doing some now, doing some later, and being patient matters, because price always matters when it comes to investing. And I think that's a lesson for people to learn once again here, is let's just have a little bit of patience. There's nothing wrong with getting an allocation today and then looking to build on that as people see how this security trades in the days and weeks to come.
But I mean, can you imagine this isn't a rhetorical question, the viability of this company? And it's got so many tentacles in so many relevant areas right now. It's hard to imagine that it's going to go away or be anything but profitable. So I wonder why you wouldn't want to get on board, particularly if you think this is a reasonable price.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's look at other. I mean, think of all the great stocks that are out there that maybe you wish you would have participated on early, from NVIDIA to Tesla to you name it. I even remember when Facebook, now Meta, first came out. It had a huge pop. I remember in a couple of weeks it was actually below its IPO price, and then the rest is history.
Yeah.
And you're right, John, maybe people are going to get hung up on the fact that the company is not currently profitable. It loses money, but like a lot of great companies that I just mentioned, they sometimes grow into their profitability. They sometimes grow into their earnings, and I think that's really the story. It's a story of growth, and anytime you can invest in growth, specifically growth that's innovative, that leads to disruption, it's usually a long-term secular play. People should give it a nod.
Wait, you said that they're not making money right now? They're not profitable?
Yeah, you've got to look at there's components of it that are profitable, but not all of SpaceX. If you look at
Tesla makes money, Twitter does not, but they're all under the same umbrella. You're telling me in aggregate, these companies, SpaceX is not a profitable corporation?
if you look at SpaceX's earnings per share, right, you've got to look at how much you're paying because their diluted earnings per share were roughly negative 2.94. So, yeah, the company brings in some $19 billion of revenue, but you really got to look at the math behind it. But there's a lot of companies that have started in a very similar fashion, and you've got to look at the individual components. But longer term, John, I think like many things, SpaceX is going to be a pillar of our society in terms of all of the tentacles that you refer to, and we can't get lost in just the financial jujitsu of the math right now.
All right, one last question, though. To what degree is the success of this company tied into one person? If Elon Musk gets bored or gets sick or does something that is untoward and people don't like him or his company anymore, or if the rockets keep blowing up, I mean, if Elon Musk goes away in some measure, what happens to the value of this company?
You know, it's speculative. It reminds me of everyone who's been worried for so incredibly long about Berkshire Hathaway if Warren Buffett were to ever depart. And I think great companies get started by audacious visionaries who have big, hairy, audacious goals. And there's no doubt that Elon Musk checks the box on that. But the implementation of those current goals in their own stage are driven by the magnificent men and women that represent that company across the globe. So while there's headline risk for an Elon Musk, it's really about the implementers now in the company, and I think that should give people some solace in knowing it's not just one person.
Would you say this is also a good example? Stephen Jobs is not with us anymore. His company is.
I think it's a tough example because it shows us how fragile life is for so many of these great innovators in America who have come and now gone, and probably Steve Jobs is another one because his company, his legacy keeps on moving absent his presence.
Nice to talk to you today, Craig. I hope you have a real nice weekend.
Yes, you as well, John. Great to be with you, and let's celebrate this, the kickoff of the return of IPOs in the public marketplace. Not everything is remaining private.
Craig Bolanos is the co-founder and wealth advisor at VestGen Wealth Partners.